Hi.
Introducing new GoDaddy website.
Hey, y'all. What's up? So, it's been like really deep on my mind to start coming out with different content, right? And speak about real issues in the community. And I will be doing a lot more of this instead of attuning my energy to low vibrational behavior. So I'm going to give it a couple of seconds and let some people come in. During that time, I will be posting a StreamYard link in the chat so that we can have some real conversation. Thank you, Nikki. Hey, Faith. Okay, so what was hitting my heart today was to talk about the stigmas and the mental health issues in the Black community. The people that listen to the end, I have a surprise for you, so stay tuned. So we're just going to jump right into it. So mental health statistics: 1 in 4 adults experience mental health illness. 9.2 million adults have mental health issues and addiction disorders. 5 million children have serious mental health illness. So I will be doing a lot of screen sharing so that you guys can see what I'm seeing also in the chat. Okay, so 5 factors that affect mental health in African American communities. Mental illness does not discriminate. 1 in 4 Americans will experience a behavioral health disorder in any given year, regardless of age, race, religion, gender, or economic status. Anyone can develop a mental health disorder. However, there are factors that can increase the vulnerability to and severity of mental health disorders in the African American population and decrease their likelihood of seeking and receiving adequate treatment. So the first one is racism. I will not read everything, but I will read a little bit. Mental Health America points out that despite progress made over the years, racism continues to have an impact on the mental health of Black/African Americans. Negative stereotypes and attitudes of rejection have decreased, but continue to occur with measurable adverse consequences. Historical and contemporary instances of negative treatment have led to a mistrust of authorities, many of whom are not seen as having the best interests of Black/African Americans. Now, we all can speak about that without even having to read anything. because it mostly relies on, seeing people out here. And the first thing you do when it comes to calling the police is like, no, because you already know the stigma about people actually dying in police custody. You know what I'm saying? Or you call the police and it could be something very simple that's going on, and a person ends up losing their life over a situation when it's actually them having a mental health crisis. Okay. Hey, Deanna. Hey, Shan. Hey, Melissa. Hey, y'all. You know my name, but you don't know my story. Right, Melissa. And I wanted to talk about this because mental health is everywhere. Okay. It's not just online, it's offline. We see it every day. And the effects that it plays on other people can cause huge problems that we already have in the community going on. Okay, so I'm going to keep reading. During slavery, an overt display of mental illness often resulted in more frequent beatings and abuse, which forced slaves to disguise or hide their mental issues. The outcome of these events have been long-lasting, perpetuating myths about mental illness. 63% of African Americans believe that depression is a personal weakness. Okay, which an example of that is how they say how strong the Black woman is. She deals with so much, but is yet the most hated. Family and community members often insist on prayer as a singular solution over seeking professional treatment. Why are you so depressed? If our people could make it through slavery, we can make it through anything. When a Black woman suffers, just like I stated, from a mental disorder, the opinion is that she is weak, and weakness in the Black community is intolerable. You should not take your troubles to Jesus, not some stranger or psychiatrist. Okay. Another one will be religious beliefs, but I actually want to talk about this one right here, which is poverty. While mental illness is not by any means restricted to individuals of lower economic status, the stressors that can accompany poverty, hunger, homelessness, lack of other basic needs, or inability to find jobs and afford treatment can be contributing factors. U.S. Census Bureau data shows that 2014 poverty rate for African Americans was 26.2%, which I honestly think is higher than that. Because if you just go outside of your house, you see so many tents and people on the corners and sleeping on covers by churches. It's ridiculous. Okay. And another one is violence. So not only in our own community is it seen as we are weak if we bring up certain problems that we're having, we're also seen as weak if we talk about it. Okay. If we say, we're hurt, it then turns into, oh, well, you're weak for being hurt. Hey, Zarina. And I know I'm moving quick, y'all, but I just want y'all to understand that in this community, we already are dealing with people who are dealing with mental illness, and we're not realizing that their problems that they have are bringing bigger problems because they can't even address the fact that they have mental issues. Okay? Right, Melissa. And I will be dropping the StreamYard link if y'all want to come in and talk about it. 1 second. Now, my problem with mental illness is that I want for our people that are suffering and dealing with stuff in their personal lives, please go find help. Okay. I know it's hard to talk to people. I know it's hard to open up to people, and let your guard down. But the mental health plays a big part if we're going to come together as a community to build anything. Okay? Denaya, go ahead, boo. I forgot you were on mute. Sorry.
She was like, "You mean for a second?" I'm like, "Sure." This is why goddess cannot get the button to rule the planet. She'll blow us all the way up. Oh wow. I think it's very fitting that we're talking about this, especially during Black History Month. The very first thing that goddess mentioned was racism, and I think the reason that we can't quote unquote get over it, as we're told to do multiple times, is because racism is a system. It's a systematic way of oppression. It's not something we dreamed of, not something that it's not a conspiracy. No, it's an actual system. The word ism means system. So there's a system put in place in order to keep us where we are. And anytime we get further, they get mad and change the rules. Hey, Deanna. One of the issues that we don't have enough Black professionals in the mental health field. Absolutely. And the reason that is because of institutional racism. And school costs a lot of money. And they want you to have an insane amount of years to it takes an insane amount of years to be able to help someone in that community and be qualified, quote unquote. Perfect example when it comes to teachers. People don't realize why teachers are so stressed out. Teachers are not able to just teach. They have to be the mother, the teacher, the security guard, the nurse, the counselor for one salary. They're doing 5 jobs for one salary and trying to maintain their mental health while dealing. We can't get over, and right, Trina, see, we can't get over because it's not over. It's never going to end. And I think that's the biggest thing. We can have all the kumbaya in the world and racism is never going to end because we do it to each other. Bet y'all are ready for that one, huh? So
talk about it.
So we do it to each other a lot. Shout out to Madam. She read the Willie Lynch letter yesterday. That definitely has something to do with it. The fact that we were pit against each other during what was called slavery then. I've said it before and I'll say it again, slavery never ended. It just changed form.
Yeah.
It went from us being in the fields to us being in the jails in the field. So again, I'm confused on where y'all thought slavery ended at. They just can't legally have us out there in the fields, not feed us. But if we commit a crime, then they can be able to not feed us and not give us adequate housing.
Oh, and don't forget about the jails. They make way more money.
Oh, I didn't get into the private jails.
Go ahead, girl. Go ahead.
We didn't even get into the private jail system. And what God is talking about with the private jail system is so crazy because for prisons, it costs. Hold on, let me check on the stats again because the last time I checked, it said $100,000 per person. But let me check and see what the new stats are for how much it costs to keep someone in jail. How much does it cost to keep people in jail? Last time I checked, it was $100,000. That was a couple of years ago. The first time I checked, it was $40,000. So it keeps going up and up, probably because we have all these private prisons out here. And it's just sad because people are literally banking off of us. They're making and a lot of these prisons are making some of the products that we use every day. They're not just making license plates anymore. They're making shoes and purses and all that stuff.
Yeah, they definitely get paid more money, even though we don't know the exact price. They're getting paid more money to keep them in the jail.
Oh,
but then you also have to think about which it leads right back to the mental illness. If you have a mental illness and you go out here and you do something, the effects are you going to jail instead of actually getting the help that you need.
Yes. Absolutely.
Or you're running to drugs, opioids, alcoholism, and this stuff leads you right back to ending up getting in trouble with the law. So it's like one big circle that continues. And the effects that it plays on your family, your friends, and even the innocent people who don't even know you. Okay, so it says earlier this week, Dustin Dwyer brought us Brianna Darwin's firsthand account of conquering depression. The high schooler shared the steps she took after it clicked to her that she needed help. For some, the stigma surrounding mental illness can keep from seeking help they may need to achieve mental health. So she's a high schooler.
Wow.
And she realized that she needed help. If she's a high schooler that can put her pride and ego to the side to say, you know what, something's not right, us as adults need to do the same. Okay? Stop blaming other people for the negative actions that you choose to take because you don't want to accept that you have a mental illness.
Yeah.
According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services of Minority Services, African Americans are 20% more likely to experience serious psychological distress, such as major depression, the S word, because y'all know how they are with that word on YouTube,
Even though
PTSD, and anxiety, than non-Hispanics and whites.
See, this is what Google frustrates me because they give me I said 2020, they give me numbers to 2015. I know damn well it's more than $40,000 a year. Don't play with me.
Oh yeah, but of course they're going to keep that under wraps because
Of course, it's
I saw an interview where this guy came out and he was saying that they had like this big secret meeting from using the music industry to set up the youth to end up going to jail, to private jails that they're getting funded for by putting out the music to make y'all do stuff.
I'm gonna just say this, make sure. So everybody that's listening to this live, if you can see it get cut off, this is why. I'm just letting y'all know now. It gets cut off, it's not a mistake. YouTube did it. I'm telling you now. Because every time I talk about this issue, it always gets cut off.
Right, Nikki, it is. And it's not just that, because we got to think about all of the factors that lead into it too. That's just like how I said, with drugs, with the music that they putting out. Listen to half of the music that these young people putting out now. It's talking about violence.
It's not talking about violence, no. It's talking about violence and drugs. It's cool to get high all of a sudden.
And a lot of these young boys, I watched a video, I forgot what his name was, but the guy behind him was literally holding his shirt because he couldn't stand up on his own. Why do you have to get that intoxicated or that, whether it was alcohol or drugs, you had to go that far to the point where you can't even stand up on your own? And then you have other young people watching you thinking that this is cool. And now we have a whole epidemic and era of young drug addicts.
Yep. Exactly. That's the problem. That's the problem. We have all these kids that think that this is cool and they're not realizing. They don't realize how many times Lil Wayne has. He better be thinking his lucky stars because he could have died a long time ago because he's gotten a bunch of seizures because of all the drugs that he takes.
And then that should be a cry for help too. Like a lot of times, even with the celebrities, the only reason I don't feel bad for a lot of celebrities is because you have the money to go get therapy. You have the money to actually go get help. And you're choosing not to. And just like, I'm sorry, but when you brought that up, that's exactly what I thought about, because this man has had how many seizures and he's still doing drugs.
Yep. And that's because somebody wants him to continue to do it. And I think a lot of people need to realize is that when it comes to these other people that are in the industry, they have their handlers as well.
And
reality,
it's definitely easier for them to get their hands on it.
Chupacabra is right. She said, and always so hard to get back into the real world and get a job after being in prison. Sometimes
Yes, it is.
they even take your voting rights. Absolutely. So what I think that people don't understand is whenever you go to jail, all the rights that we're supposed to have in the Constitution go out the window. So you're
Mhm.
voting. You are no longer allowed to vote. You have issues with housing. There are a lot of jobs that you can't get. They just recently, after years of fighting by by for a fair amount of organizations, they are now letting people that have records to get better jobs. That didn't happen overnight. That took
Mhm.
years for that.
And it's still hard.
Black
It's
Ice.
still hard.
Oh, it's still hard. Trust me. You have to, but you have to be connected to those organizations in order to get those kinds of jobs. You have to be very committed to your community in order to get that kind of stuff. There are so many organizations that do work that people don't know because they're not like all over television. These are independent organizations through the community that you have
Mhm.
to be connected with.
Hey, Tex Coco. Hey, Nikki. And yeah, and I'll check it out. But that's why I'm trying to change my content also because it's more important stuff to talk about. Like I said, I don't mind talking about other stuff, but at the same time, we need to talk about stuff that's going to help our community too. The fact that it's a lot of people sitting up here with mental issues that really do need help. Okay. And I also want to read from this article right here.
Yes.
It says when Demetrius Minor left the army after 12 years in 2013, he went through a standard medical review, physically fit and seemingly healthy. He breezed through. Nobody caught that he was depressed. Minor says he passed through the mental health system because I look healthy. They are looking for broken bones and ask you the easy questions like, do you feel like hurting yourself or others? No. So that help was technically there, but there was no real deep dive. Minor, now 41, who is African American, is just one example of a much larger problem. According to the U.S. Health and Human Services Office of Minority Health, African Americans are less likely to have their mental health problems addressed. I come home, go outside, do my thing, sit on my couch for days and weeks on end, and then you just disappear. People will say, "Hey, I haven't heard from you. What's going on?" And the response would be, "I'm good. I'm
Mhm.
out here grinding. I'm hustling."
Mhm.
We say those words that people in our community use to make it sound like we're doing something. You say all the cliches, but inside you're hurting and you don't know why or how. Minor isn't sure African American communities and society at large are ready to deal with the challenges of mental health. I don't think we are woke enough yet to understand that mental health doesn't mean we're crazy. You can have a functioning life outside that door of your house. Just how there are functioning alcoholics, I was a functioning depressant.
Mhm.
The issues and challenges are ingrained in families, neighborhoods, and societies, he said. Growing up, we never used the words mental health. If we had a problem, we just have to accept it and roll on. Looking back at my childhood, I see a lot of issues where people were suffering from poor mental health, but there's no diagnosis, no help, and no treatment, so families were broken up.
Mhm.
Now, I wanted to show that because I know I have seen that. How many of y'all have seen that in y'all own communities where they be like, "No, I'm good." You'll be like, "You disappeared. Are you okay?" Or to be that aunt and uncle that doesn't talk at all until they get drunk or some type of high. And then they're so loving and free and want to party and open all of a sudden. And you like, wait, you was just, I've been asking you for the last 20 days.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Are you okay? Go ahead, Denia.
No, she was talking about black ice and like, oh, the whole black ice. I thought you meant like black ice was like something from the prison industrial complex. Black ice is a poet.
Oh, it's a poet.
Yeah, he's from Chicago.
Okay, let me pull up some of their stuff. Go ahead, Denia. I pulled it up.
Oh, okay. I think when it comes, and it's so interesting. I was just talking to my cousin about this because he put a post up there. He was like he's changing his content, thank God, because he was acting a damn fool. And but it was just like I'm fine. I'm just changing da. And I was like, he hit me with it. And so I hit him up. I was like, "Are you okay?" And I did that because this is my cousin, and I know what we've been through in the past year. So I know that when I say I'm okay. I'm not. I'm just saying that for public, for the public, because losing that many family members that quickly is devastating any freaking family. I don't care who the hell you are. And so I was like, "I'm like, are you good?" And he's like, and he sent me the post. I was like, "No, don't do that to me." I'm like, I know what the hell you're going through. Are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm just changing my content. I'm like, okay, I'm just checking on you because I know when I say it, and people ask me, I'm just like, I say that to not have another question after that. The majority of the time, because usually it's like for most people that ask, it's like if I say you're not going to ask anything further, so what's the point? You just want to make sure a lot of people that ask usually want to make sure that I'm good enough to do whatever they need me to do.
Right. And we have to speak about that too. Sometimes the person you ask, and just because they seem a little stronger than you, don't mean that you could put all your problems on them.
Right.
Also, projection. If you're going through something and you try to place blame on someone else when they're not living the life you live, you projecting that onto them makes you look crazy.
Right.
Because all it's screaming out is that you still need help. You also pay attention to Constitution 13 Amendment. If it allows for enslavement of people, and if you realize most criminals that are enslaved are usually blacks. Exactly. He's from Chicago.
He goes. So she says he's from Philly, but we actually have one here that goes by black guys as well. So that's funny.
Okay. Well, I mean, like I tell y'all all the time, when it comes to stuff like this, people don't really want to hear it, and they don't really want a solution or to move into a way where we can help each other. And honestly, it's sad. It really truly is, and it gets tiring. Because that's like saying you can lead them to the water but can't make them drink. So how many times can we keep trying to lead our people into a more positive light so that we can all work with each other, but keep taking 10 steps back?
And I think part of the reason why we are afraid to talk about it is because it requires being vulnerable. It requires letting someone trust you, and people are afraid to be trusted. Yes, ma'am, I'm from Chicago. People are afraid to trust people, especially when it comes to online, because they don't know what they're dealing with necessarily. I work with the mental health organization called Project Renee Chicago. One of the biggest things that we do is we work with people that have substance abuse and developmental delays. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the houses like around the country and whatnot. But it's a lot of people don't realize it, and it's predominantly an African American owned organization. And the biggest thing that we do is make sure that we're doing it within the African American community, because the problem that we have as a people is that we don't discuss it. We don't discuss mental health. We don't discuss health, period. We refer to diabetes as the sugar. Really, y'all? Can we stop doing that? Actually, pretty serious. And diabetes can actually lead people to amputations and things. So kids have kind of the sugar that like it was just like I guess something.
Right. And everybody that are overweight does not necessarily have diabetes, and we need to make sure you get that understood also.
You know, and
Okay.
we also need to get to the point where we stop demeaning one another just because it's fun, it's jargon, it's whatever. Because what it's doing is it's causing mental health issues. So if you sit up there and you tell your child that they're horrible and everything they do is wrong, and you can never do anything right. If you tell somebody this since they were a child, when they get older, all they're going to think is that I can never do anything right. Why should I even try? And so you have all these kids that are sitting up in school and remembering when they were being told they were never going to get anything right. So why should we even? Why do they even care? And they stop caring about school. They stop caring about themselves because they think that they're not worthy. They think that they have no value. The minute that someone thinks they have no value, that's a very dangerous person because whenever Project 180 Chicago. Hold on, let me put it in the chat. Sorry. One second, but yeah, it's really sad that we have these people that just don't care. I mean, and that's just what it is because they've been taught not to care. So they're not.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing about it. Being taught not to care, or as soon as you show any bit of emotion, you're told, why are you acting like that?
Yep.
What are you crying for?
Oh my God, please, babe.
When crying become weakness,
hello.
is that not turning someone into having? That's hey, you're gonna have a mental issue right there.
Yes.
Because as soon as you cry, you're being told that you're weak for crying.
Yep. And that's the problem. When you are being told that you're weak for crying, and this happens a lot when it comes to young men, especially young Black men.
So we're talking about mental health issues and the negative effects that it can cause in the lives of people, whether online or in real life.
Tell Nikki.
Yes, they think they don't have any value. They don't think anyone else is of value. Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I thought I put it up here, but I just looked up some poems and I didn't even know they had a site full of teenagers actually writing poems about mental illness. So one person said, it's hard when you're always lying, always hiding the way you feel, losing your sight on truthful words, forgetting what is real. Here's another one called Restless Nights. I'm breaking, I can't be fixed. I'm missing, but I won't be missed.
Wow.
Let me read that one again.
Read that again real quick.
I'm breaking, I can't be fixed. I'm missing, but I won't be missed. That right there is saying that they feel no one cares about them.
Mm-hmm.
And then from going through all of the, why are you crying? Why are you talking about that? That's small. That's a small problem. So now as a teenager, because whoever wrote this, I don't know who they are, but they feel like they can't even get help.
And I'm gonna just say this, and if you have a child, if you work with kids, if you ever hear someone saying I won't be missed, watch their actions very carefully.
Mm-hmm. Know the signs.
If they're at school, don't let them leave. Because I'm telling you now, Everybody wants to know what happens when a child doesn't come back. I'm not going to say the word because we're on Goddess's channel. What usually happens is it starts with stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with people saying, I don't want to be here anymore. Nobody really cares. Listen to the words that are coming out of these kids' mouths. The problem is there are so many children that feel like they have no voice because they're being told that children should be seen and not heard. That is the worst thing that you can ever.
I remember that. Oh, I remember that as a child.
Yeah, I heard that mess too. I didn't listen, but I heard that as well.
Or when a neighbor comes over or a family friend comes over and you'll get in trouble for coming out there.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, child, because some of my family from South Carolina and North Carolina, and I remember people getting beatings. I've witnessed my cousins getting beatings from coming in the living room while they had company.
I'm lucky. My parents were never that crazy because for us, when it was company, it was usually business. So it was like, I wouldn't want to stand in the room any fucking way. So that wouldn't have worked. It really wouldn't have.
Yeah, but I have seen it. And it was crazy because you couldn't even ask for a cup of water. And definitely don't think you're gonna come stand out there and start engaging in conversation.
But and so see, this is gonna go into the whole. This is gonna go into a whole nother reason. So, what a lot of families don't want to discuss is incest.
Ooh.
So. So what that can possibly be, when a family member is being when they said somebody has a funny uncle, and can we stop saying that too, because that means that the uncle is a P. Can't say that word either. YouTube, I need y'all to get this together. This is irking me.
Yeah, y'all gonna have to figure out what we talking about with certain words because YouTube be on one.
Uncle's R. Kelly. How about that? Let's do that. That'll work.
Right. Okay.
And a funny uncle, like people make a joke out of it. It's not funny. The fact that people are actually, the fact that this is a generational thing, and I've seen this.
I have a story about that, but go ahead, Denai.
There actually is a video that I have on here on my channel where I went to a domestic violence. It was a play, and it was talking about women that have either survived or did not survive domestic violence. Mm-hmm. And there was a girl that she didn't make it. She passed. She was 23, but her entire family, not doing the entire, her grandmother, great grandmother, and mother were all molested by somebody in their family. And by the time it got to her, their response was, "Well, you're a woman now. Shut up and take it."
Wow.
And
say that again.
You're a woman now. Shut up and take it. I don't think I put that part on there, but I think I know I did a live about it once I got home because I was so shocked. And it was just insane because it was like you watching and literally they're saying like, well, and the grandma's like, well, it happened to me and it happened to my mama. So what? What's welcome to the family. Wait, what?
Mm-hmm.
So she got away from that family finally because of course they said, don't tell the white people that what's going on in this house. And she got away from that family, but unfortunately she fell into that trap of abuse and was killed by her lover. But
mm-hmm.
she was saying the best thing that came out of that was that she wasn't able to have children because so that way she could kill that generational curse.
Wow.
I think for me, the first time that I ever really, really thought about and saw how bad incest could be was seeing the movie Precious.
Oh yeah.
Because it was the first time that I had seen something
Do you
So
know to this day I can't watch that whole movie?
I'm not watching that movie ever again in life. That's a one and done for me.
I could not watch that whole movie. Even when I'll cut it on, I'll be like, all right, this is too much.
You can't watch it because you can feel it.
Yeah, it's too much. It was too much for me.
You can feel that energy. You don't need none of that.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not at all. And I was watching it, and I was just like, and I don't know what she had to go to dig that deep to get that evil. I mean, that was oof. The spirit she had to go to get that character.
Mm-hmm. But it's not even just that though. Like, it's something as small as you telling your child, you just pointing out certain flaws on your child at a young age.
Yes.
And you're not even realizing that you said something that you think is so small, but turns out to hurt them in the long run because now they don't smile.
Mm.
And now you're trying to figure out why they won't smile, but you don't remember you saying that something about their teeth or their ears or their hair.
Oh, let's go deeper than that. So the problem that we have in the African American community is that the one little issue that nobody ever wants to discuss, because we're supposed to be together and blah 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 blah. But you told your baby that they was too dark and their hair wasn't good enough.
Oh my gosh, I did a video on that on the Prince family. But go ahead.
I remember. Mm-hmm. I commented on that too. So go back and watch that video if y'all haven't seen her video on the Ace family. How
the Prince family.
Well, who was it?
The Prince family.
The Prince family?
Mm-hmm. With Bianca.
Well, oh, okay. Ace family is a whole other nightmare. That's the one with that kid with the kid that was sucking the sucker.
Mm-hmm.
Why y'all getting money? I'm confused by these things.
Candy, the piece of candy. YouTube. That's what we said.
Yeah, it's candy. Yes, the candy. Mm-hmm. The candy in the shape of a follicle.
Mm-hmm. You know. Real quick before you go on, I was reading Lisa's comment.
Oh,
don't read it, but because I don't want YouTube to cut my video.
Yeah, but I'm not reading it. But Jesus Christ, prayers for you, sweetheart.
It is, Lisa. It is, because anybody that takes you in as a family member and does that to you, it is. And I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Woo.
Hello, Miss Dre. How are you? Welcome.
Hello, Miss Dre. Hello, everyone that's coming to the chat. If you haven't already done so, please hit the thumbs up button and make sure that you, if you haven't already done so, that you hit the subscribe button as well.
But do you see how all of this adds up into mental health, and then we still get up and have to go out and conquer life, and then we still have to get up and be on the internet and deal with other people that have mental illnesses on the internet, and then we have to go to work dealing with people that have mental health at the job, even at the Subway or the McDonald's, or like it's a bunch of people running around with unsolved mental health issues.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then, and that's why I said I'm going to start getting up here and meditating in the mornings so that y'all can just, instead of hearing a bunch of rah-rah, y'all can actually set your mind and your mental state to have a good day, knowing that a lot of people out here suffer with mental illness. Yeah. Do you know that some people with mental illnesses wake up and they're like, okay, you know what? Today might be that day. Mm-hmm. Where they don't care anymore, where they don't feel like they don't have anything to lose.
Yes.
And you might just be that person to tick them off.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're looking at the news station and you happen to be a target that day. It's literally that easy.
Yeah.
It can happen that quickly.
And I think a lot of people don't realize too, and that's kind of what I get frustrated when people on here kind of just joke around with the situation when it comes to mental health. Pay attention to what's going on in chats. Not just on here, but on Facebook especially. Facebook is where I've seen the most issues and stop, for the love of all things holy. Can we please stop saying, oh, they're just tripping? Oh, it's nothing. Don't worry about it. Get over it. I'm going to tell you what happens
That
when
irritates me so much.
you know when you'll stop doing that? When you see the after message.
Mm-hmm.
It took me one time. It was somebody that I met at a show. He went by Mike One. I had like I'd see his feed occasionally, whatever. He was a really dope artist, but I met him because my boy Mike had a show with Twista, and he was the one that produced it. So now, mind you, a week before this, his brother-in-law had taken himself out, and so we're at this show, and we're trying to, like, calm him down beforehand, and just praying that he can get through this show, because it's supposed to be one of the biggest shows, like, and he's ready to freak out. So the minute that we all saw that message, we were all just freaking out, and he was like, "It feels like I lost Scotty all over again." The pain that you have in your heart after seeing the after message, and wondering, why didn't I check my phone? Why didn't I reach out? I didn't know. I didn't see it. If I would have looked up 3 hours earlier, the pain that you see after that, you would never make fun of anyone when they say that they're not doing well and maybe they don't want to be here. The first thing you would do is reach out, because I'm so sick and tired of people just sitting up here being like, "Oh, they're doing it for attention." Sometimes
Exactly.
they are doing it for attention. They're doing it because they might have a plan, and that's the first question you ask.
I had that happen to me, actually.
Go ahead.
I had received a phone call, and I didn't accept the phone call. I missed it, and the next thing I knew, she was gone. Because a couple of days prior to that, I had taken her by, like, if you drive up the street from me, it's like a parking lot behind the church that's on like a hill, but it looks like the stars are like really close, like it's a really nice view. And I sat with her and we talked, and I told her everything was going to be okay. You know what I'm saying? As I always do. And you don't realize that a person sometimes is talking to you because they know it's going to be their last conversation with you.
Jesus Christ. I've had people tell me after that, had I not answered the phone, it would have been less conversation. I've actually had a couple people tell me that, which is scary. Because I'm like, what if I had been busy? Oh my goodness. I would have felt horrible. You know what I mean? And so oh my God. Oof, that's hard. That's really hard.
Yeah, and not just that, it happened like a couple of days before we flew to Vegas to get married.
Oh my God.
So it was no way to really cancel anything. So not only did we have to attend a funeral 3 days before we flew to Vegas, like it was a lot. It was a lot.
I can't even imagine.
And that's why I say when I come on here, like I can argue all day long, but I really do want to heal my people. It's really deeper than arguing. Like we all are human, okay? We all make mistakes. We all go through stuff. And I'm tired of everybody on this platform pinpointing, get help. Yeah. Get help. Stop putting other people's problems at the forefront and then not expecting a reaction. But we're going to get up off of that. I want to read this poem also. It says, a poem about anxiety. The fire that rages from within my rib cage is weakening my bones that should make me strong.
Mm.
Struggling with depression, yet refusing to give up. I sit alone in the dark. The sun is shining, birds chirping, children playing, but all that surrounds me is darkness. Every time someone says, cheer up, I sink deeper into my pit. The hole in my brain has dug for itself. The serotonin that refuses to pass through my sappiness. This is depression, the unspoken disease. I sink deeper in my pit. People tell you to be happy, smile more, just get out of the house. You're holding yourself back. I smile and say, I'll try, thanks, and give a chuckle. When in act, I suffer alone. I do not want their useless words. They do not understand. How could they? I sink deeper into my pit. My eyes close and I picture respite. But in this dream, they're all pills, ropes, knives, chemicals, and ledges. No, that won't do. But it sounds so nice. I sink deeper into my pit. The light is gone. I sleep all day. The dream world is where I am happy. Away from people, away from life, I sink deeper into my pit. Colors are non existent. Black and white are my world minus the white, snowballing through gritty streets, turning the pristine ball of hope into a filthy mound of broken dreams. I sink deeper into my pit. Depression stays by my side, my only friend, but this friend, well, he is the one who talks behind your back, the
Mm.
one who makes fun of you to get ahead. This is the guy who pushes you on the ground and then laughs. This is the one who you cling onto because you have no one else. I sink deeper into my pit. I finally muster up the courage. I scream for help, but by now, no one can hear me. No one wants to hear me. I've pushed them all away. Why am I still here? Because I don't want to die. But I do. I am confused. Death greets me when I knock on his door. I meant to play ding dong ditch, but no, death has seen me. He says, my turn, and gives me a knife. The knife is white like an angel, so full of innocence, made for chopping carrots and stew. I am to taint this knife with my blood, the blood of depression. I sink deeper into my pit. Death winks and says, let's pick up the pace. I don't have all day. I reply, you're right, neither do I. So I hand him the knife. I'll say, I'll see you another day. I wonder why I turned down that sweet, sweet offer. I see my mom. She is finally breathing. No air had passed through her lungs while I was gone. Someone cares. I see a rope crawling down my pit. I grab hold and shout, I'm ready. I ascend the walls of my pit slowly. It takes years. I meet therapists and friends who care. I talk to my past and say, go away. I am still climbing. This is a journey. I get so tired, sometimes slipping back, but I hold on tight. I don't let go. I don't give up.
Wow. Whew.
Okay. So that was deep,
Yeah.
but very much true for a lot of people. And mind you, these are written by teenagers.
Hmm.
We could be doing a lot more helping than hurting.
Mm. Nikki, Jesus, baby girl.
Let me read the chat, my bad.
Nikki and Lisa Trooper, my prayers are with you all.
Exactly, Nikki. And that's what happened. And when it happened, it was so quick. And not just that,
Yeah.
she took herself in jail because they locked her up saying that something was wrong with her. And instead of actually getting her, once again, mental help, they threw handcuffs on her and put her in a box by herself.
Mm.
And that was the last time anyone ever seen her.
Jeez Louise.
Okay.
I think a lot of people don't realize how much of a generational situation it is. Um, when it comes to mental health and when it comes to incest, and people don't really know how to deal with it. Because when you get to the point where you can't tell your family what's going on because it's just what happens and it's kind of considered a rite of passage, you start thinking, why was I born to this craziness? And I think, but you have to realize that you might have been born into it so you can end it. So what happened to the person before you doesn't happen to you or anyone else at that point. I think the problem is that we have a huge problem now because the digital world makes it so much easier for kids to be targets. I honestly don't understand why kids under 12 should be on the internet outside of parental supervision to begin with, but especially when it comes to places like YouTube. I kind of understand why the whole Copper thing situation happened, and I forgot whose live it was on, but they're talking about the fact that their kid received messages. Their child was receiving messages from people online. And mind you, this kid was like 2. Asking how are you, that kind of crap. We have this problem when it comes to the digital community, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever, that we forget that there are real people behind these screens. Even though we can see people, we have people that are be live on video, we forget there's a real person that's there. It's not just a personality. There have been multiple YouTubers who have taken themselves out. The one that really rings a bell to me is the guy named Etika that we talked about for 2 seconds and then everybody just kind of stopped. We need to talk more about those kind of situations because if you looked at his videos, you saw it coming. And the minute that he started posting about wanting to exit, he never should have been alone from that point on. And the fact that he was, it boggles my mind. How do you have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and no one said, hey, let's put you in a hospital and keep you there until you don't want to do this anymore? And I get it. It's hard if people don't want help and that's what they want to do. That's what they're going to do. You can't watch them 24/7. But at the same token, yes, please, you are not alone. If you are watching this broadcast, whether it be now from the bushes or in the replay, God just typed the number in the chat for you to call and get home. To call and get help. Never think that you are by yourself when it comes to the situation, because if you're reading our chat, you can see you're not. And I say it all the time, I say quality over quantity. For me, I don't like having huge amounts of people in the chats because you can't really connect with people this way. Everything becomes a joke. You get tons of trolls and a whole bunch of mess. When we have smaller chats, you're actually able to build relationships and really get real stories and actually interact and be access to people and say, I'm sorry.
And if you want to get on a StreamYard and we add you and you want to talk about it, that's fine. You can just click the link that I'm going to put in the chat. Go ahead, deny it, babe.
Whew. I'm reading Lisa's comment, sorry. Yeah, I had a friend that was a cutter, and she did it she did it because her father was abusive and her brother was abusive, and it was the only thing she can control.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people that do that when they do self-mutilation is because they can't control anything else, and so they can only control what they do to themselves.
And I don't want this live to be like depressing or anything. I just really want to touch on topics because we can do both. I keep telling y'all, multifaceted goddess. I might come on here and do something crazy, and I might come on here and have a serious discussion. It just is what it is because definitely women, we go through so much as women, from our looks to our bodies to our mental health to dealing with our children, our husbands, our jobs, getting paid less. You know, it's a lot of stuff that we deal with, and y'all are strong.
Yes. Every single person in this chat, you are strong because this is not an easy topic. I see the numbers going up and down because I think we're talking about mess. No, so we're talking about how to heal yourself. Thank you.
And that's fine. And I told y'all the last time, I'm willing to sacrifice my numbers.
Yeah, to help somebody.
When it comes to, if my numbers are only high when I'm being negative,
oh well,
it is what it is. That's a mental health issue all in itself.
Absolutely. Hey, Lala Diamond. Hey, sweetie. How are you? Absolutely. You know,
Exactly, a sense of all. We all do. And it's heavier on women because we cook and we clean and we going to work. We working 2, 3, 4 jobs. We trying to start a business. We trying to, you know, all while probably being pregnant at the same time.
exactly. And that's what people don't realize is that
Shout out to y'all.
if we would actually work together, we could get so many more things done.
Even women that have children with disabilities, like, do you know how much harder it is on them
Yeah.
to make sure their children are okay, to make sure they're excelling, to make sure they're being heard at school due to their disability, to
Yeah.
make sure they're being treated right?
Yes.
Because when your child has a mental illness, it does not matter what anyone else says, the parent does too. Because they're going to constantly want to make sure their child is okay. They're going to constantly, it's going to mess with them.
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to pour love into my women right now because it's a lot of stuff and it's a lot of women that go to bed at night and cry. Or they get ready for their bath before they go into their next day and they cry.
I mean, I think the reason for all that is the fact that um we have to put on the front for the rest of the world, especially if you're a content creator. Because it's one thing when it's your brand, it's another thing with somebody else's brand.
Mm-hmm.
I had to. I'll be honest. When it came to the whole Kobe situation, I had to. I was asking my client if she wanted to post something. I said I can't give any advice on this. I need you to do it because I can't even think of the verbiage right now because I can't think of anything that's helped me to cope because I haven't been able to cope with it because I can't breathe from everything that happened last year.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many people that do not get, like, they just don't get it. They really don't get it. You can't have your life ripped apart the first part of the year and be okay the rest of the year when you're never able to recover because you have a friend that you didn't even know had issues with drugs, and then they pop up and pass over an overdose,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel guilty because you hadn't talked to their significant other because they weren't there when your mother passed and your cousin passed. Yeah, I was done. Oh, I was done.
Yep. If I don't hear from if I don't hear from Denaya or one of them in the chat for a couple of days, I'm like, "What's up? You good?"
She is. And guys, and so, like, for everyone that has questions, I already know what Goddess is like that, because she can literally, even if I tell her I'm okay, she's like, no, you're not. And she knows. But it's hard, because it's a long story. So she's like, I try to just get to the point where I'm well enough that I'm able to talk. It's a different situation when I don't talk, and I think that's why it's very, very. Oh, God bless you, sweetheart. Yes, have a great night. It's a different story when people don't talk at all. Like, I see people like, if I just shut down, then get worried.
1 second, Lisa. That's fine, babe. Let me put my, because I would like to start doing that too. Like, that's why I keep putting the StreamYard link up. Just go ahead. I'll put my email in the chat. Okay. And if you actually want to come on here and talk about it and we discuss it, that's fine too. And I thank you for stopping in. Go ahead, Denaya, my bad.
You're good. But I think, and I don't know how many people have dealt with it. When it comes to losing a parent, losing family, and whatnot, I don't know how most people deal with it. I know for me it was hard because I'm an only child. So, on top of that, love you, Zarina.
I'm like, y'all good? What's going on? I ain't heard from you.
Yeah. That's just really good about that. and somebody who was, I think it was at least somebody was talking about another reason that we have issues is because of the fact that we self-medicate. And the problem with self-medicating is that can cause issues too. I think a lot of people don't realize how many people are functioning alcoholics or functioning drug addicts. So they're going to work, they're keeping a good job, and they're coming home and getting wasted to the point of no return, to the point of almost blacking out. So meanwhile, the company thinks they're great and they're grand and they're just doing such good work, and their family's trying to figure out why they can't talk because they're so inebriated. And this happens with a lot of police officers. And I don't know about doctors, but I know definitely police officers for sure, because of what they go through. And it's so tricky when it comes to African Americans and the police, because on the one hand, I understand that they have an incredibly dangerous job and they're putting their lives on the line. On the other hand, that if y'all would stop pointing before you shoot, you might not have as many issues. I'm just saying. If you think before you shoot, it might be an idea. People might like you a little bit more. Plus, from the fact that police officers are derived from slave catchers and whole nother life. But it's part of the reason why we have this trauma. What a lot of people don't realize when it comes to a lot of the people that have lost their lives at the hand of the police, that's traumatizing to so many people. When Sandra Bland died, that traumatized the hell out of me. Because we're the exact same height. My mom was very adamant, I do mean adamant, about the fact that I was not allowed to get angry in public because of my height, because she told me on multiple occasions, she said, they're not going to ask questions, they're just going to shoot. Yep. They're not going to ask you, they're not going to ask any questions, they're not going to care, they're going to call the cops, and they're not going to ask, they're just going to fire.
And then, not just that, it's a lot of these officers who are coming from mentally ill homes and then get out here and the first Black person they see is a target, or was raised to not like Black people and then giving them a gun. So I don't want to make this live too long, you guys. I'm trying to shorten my lives so that y'all not sitting here for 8 hours on a topic. So I'm going to end my live by playing my singing bowl so that you guys can leave on a peaceful note. And I appreciate the people that did stop in here to actually have a conversation and who weren't just here for to hear any drama or anything like that. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much, everyone.
I hope you guys have a great night and have a great week. Start your week off peacefully. And thank you for the people that stayed to hear me play my singing bowl. Good night, guys.
Night, everyone.
You're welcome, Asinsa. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.